Okay. Welcome to the South River Mayor and Borough Council meeting number 20 of this date of December 19th, 2022. This meeting is hereby called to order. Would you please read the statement of publication, Madam Clerk?
In compliance with Chapter 231 of Public Law of 1975, notice of this meeting to be held at the Criminal Justice Building, 61 Main Street, South River, or remotely via Zoom has been published in the Home News Tribune on January 6, 2022, posted on the Municipal Building Bulletin Board, the Borough website, and the front door of the Criminal Justice Building at 61 Main Street, South River.
Roll call.
Mayor Krenzel?
Here.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Here.
Councilman Gindi?
Here.
Councilman Gerczynski?
Here.
Councilwoman Mira?
Here.
Councilman Oliveira?
Here.
Council President Ciulla?
Here.
Please rise for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. There are no proclamations, honor awards, or presentations. There's nothing for the agenda session. We will therefore go into second reading concerning ordinance 2022-38. Madam Clerk?
Bond ordinance providing for various water utility improvements and equipment acquisitions, appropriating $500,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $475,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorized in and by the Borough of South River in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey.
Make a motion to waive the full reading.
Second that.
Motion has been made to waive the full reading by Mr. Ciulla, seconded by Mr. Gindi. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. Opening this up to the public, you may come forward, ask any questions, make any comments concerning this ordinance. Please give your name and address on first call, second call, third call.
Motion closed.
Motion's been made to close by Mrs. Ballas, seconded by Mr. Gindi. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Your pleasure on the ordinance.
And to move.
Second.
Ordinance has been moved by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gerczynski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira?
Yes.
Councilman Oliveira?
Yes.
Council President Ciulla?
Yes.
The ordinance has been adopted. Moving on to ordinance 2022-39.
An ordinance of the Borough of South River, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of Block 152, Lot 16, to 25 Main Street, South River, LLC, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 40A:12-13B and NJSA 40A:12-13.2.
Ready for the full reading.
Second.
Ordinance has been made by, a motion has been made by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mr. Ciulla to waive the full reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Opening this up to the public for any comments or questions concerning this ordinance. Please come forward and give your name and address on first call, second call, third call.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Mr. Gindi.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Oliveira. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Your pleasure on the ordinance.
Move the ordinance.
Ordinance has been moved by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mr. Oliveira. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gerczynski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira?
Yes.
Councilman Oliveira?
Yes.
Council President Ciulla?
Yes.
The ordinance has been adopted. Moving on to ordinance 2022-40. Madam Clerk?
An ordinance of the Borough of South River, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 22 of the Borough Code of the Borough of South River entitled Boards, Commissions, and Authorities.
Make a motion to waive the full reading.
Second.
Motion has been made to waive the full reading by Mr. Ciulla, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Opening this up to the public on this ordinance, you may come forward, ask any questions, make any comments. Please give your name and address on first call, second call, third call.
Motion to close.
Motion is closed by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mr. Gerczynski. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. Your pleasure on the ordinance.
Move the ordinance.
The ordinance has been moved by Mr. Gindi,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gerczynski. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gerczynski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira,
Yes.
Councilman Olivera,
Yes.
Council President Seola.
Yes.
The ordinance has been adopted. Moving on to reports. Good evening, Mr. Koch, our engineer.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and everybody on the council. The 2020 and 2021 roads just have punch list items, which at this point I think should wait until the spring. The 2022 project, the contractor has done the work at the municipal building. I don't anticipate any work further this year unless the weather is fair and they get out there and do the water-related work, which is hydrants and valves, things of that nature. The 2023 local aid, I issued a letter to the borough. Once you decide how you would like to proceed with that, we can. The substation maintenance, the SCADA system is scheduled to be shipped. Well, number 2R, the replacement, the pre-con meeting is scheduled for this week, and I'm trying to think of the contracts were dropped off at the borough today for execution. If I may, Mr. Mayor, at the last meeting, we were talking about Olszewski and Prentice Avenue. I've been out there twice. I met with one resident down at the intersection. I was out there again today. I think I have two less expensive solutions that could be done, one first and then the other, to see if the first one provides more relief, and it's probably the less expensive of the two. Mr. Soares and I are going to meet out there tomorrow and pop some manhole covers. And that would be to try and get that one sump pump that's doing most of the pumping of water out there into a storm sewer that's not too far away. And if that works, I think for maybe, we could do a change order to the current road project, if that was your pleasure. And I think maybe on the order of 30,000 would solve that problem. And then we would see how it works down at the bottom. I think the icing problem is because of the constant flow of water going down the street. So I will report back to you more on that once I get this recon and we'll see how deep these structures are. So for your next meeting, I'll be able to discuss that further.
You'll have lots of rain this week to observe, some
Yep.
plain, and lots of ice apparently too. Okay, anything for Bruce?
Nope.
No, thank you, sir.
You,
Thank you.
Bruce.
Mr. Zhang.
Thank you. A few items on the agenda. The first one is, on Friday, I emailed everybody the certificate of determination and award for the band sale. We received the 4% interest rate, then we received the premium back, so our net interest rate was 3.1336, which is very good. But to put it into perspective, last year we were at 0.443, so the difference of interest between last year with the federal government raising rates is around $183,000 this year in next year's budget. So we did a great job with the band sale, but we're also a lot higher than we were a year ago. And it's like that globally, so it's not just us. Second one, we have a transfer resolution. I gave everyone an updated transfer resolution. The only thing that changed was the volunteer fire department sections were just reversed. Next one is we have a resolution for a purchase of a digger truck that was in the budget. It's under a co-op. And then the last one is approving non-union salaries. You have 3 unions approved, and now the non-union, if you approve it tonight, same raises as the other unions received, same percentages. That's it.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Zanga. I notice we have our fire chief one last time. Do you wish to give a report? Santa Sunday went well.
Yes, I think. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Currently, all units are in service. All reports are current and up to date. On Friday, December 16th, the department, along with George Street Ladies Auxiliary, did assist the South River Food Bank with their Christmas toy distribution, which was held at our fire headquarters. Throughout December, the department has brought Santa to numerous events, including the tree lighting, schools, and other organizations. This past Saturday, Santa and our department delivered over 200 gifts. Units covered all neighborhoods in the borough and also handed out candy canes to children and families. Please keep in mind that we're an all-volunteer department. Also on Sunday, during this event, we were dispatched to Sayreville for a 2-alarm working fire. Engine 5 provided coverage at the MacArthur Avenue Firehouse. Once again, if you have a live Christmas tree with lights in your residence, please make sure that it is watered and properly cared for. It is critical that you check your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. An update on Engine 2. The motor and engine are complete. The front cab is now built and in the process of being put together and assembled. The cab, engine, and chassis are located in Louisiana. There is no ETA for the completion of this project. It will replace Engine 2, which is close to 30 years old. I'd like to recognize firefighter Ryan Farrell of Engine Company 1, Ryan is also a career firefighter with Montgomery County, Maryland. Recently, Ryan received a unit citation award from his career department for Life Safety Award. Ryan is the son of Mike Farrell, who currently holds the rank of captain, and was also past chief of department. On December 20th, the department will hold our annual 2023 officers elections. The meeting department will elect a new chief of department, first assistant chief, second assistant chief. Election has been postponed from Monday, December. This time, I'd like to personally thank the mayor, council, all of our employees, the police department, and the 16,000 plus residents in the South River for your support of our department. Once again, thank you.
Thank you for your good service, sir. Moving on to DPW.
Yes, Mayor. Next Monday, the 26th, and also January 2nd, we're going to be closed. There'll be no yard waste pickup them 2 days. And also, the recycling center is going to be closed this Saturday, the 24th.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Anything for Mr. Soares? Also, while you have it, when somebody's leaving out their leaves or grass clippings, they should not be in plastic bags?
Correct.
That's right. They should be in an open container.
Open container or brown recycle bag. Yep.
Okay, then. Very good then. And that's for everybody because there was some troubles with that. They don't have time to, if you put it into a plastic bag, to empty the plastic bag and then throw the bag on the side and then have it fly away. Plastic bags are verboten. You can't have them. So, thank you, sir. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor. I only got a couple things. First, the police department is still looking for school crossing guards. So if you know anybody that's looking for, it's a full-time position, but it's really only part-time. It's 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. If you know anybody that's looking for a job to fill our ranks in the crossing guard, please let me know. They can actually pick up an application down at Borough Hall. That's where you get that. We're also looking for special law enforcement Class 1 officers. So if you know any young kids, young adults that are criminal justice majors that want to get their foot in the door of the police department or in the criminal justice field, we're looking to fill our ranks. There is a police academy coming up soon in East Brunswick, more towards like March, April. So we're looking to do that. I'd also like to congratulate, I don't know if you guys got my email, Mary Ann Kazi, who's retiring after 20 years of service with the police department. She's been a dispatcher here for 20 years and also a dispatcher in Sayreville prior to coming over here. So she's retiring, I believe, at the end of May. And lastly, I just want to thank everyone for pitching in and donating their nicely worn shoes. We didn't make our goal of 25 bags. I believe it was 20 shoes per bag. We made it halfway, but I know my executive assistant is going to kill me. The deadline was last week, but they still haven't picked up the shoes. So if you want to just come and just drop off shoes, we can probably still sneak it in. All right, that's it.
Very good. Anything for the chief?
I just have a quick question, Mayor, if I can. How many Class 1 officers do we have now?
We have 4.
4. And how many do you wish to have?
We can have up to 20.
Up to 20.
Yeah, I don't want to say hell hostage. It's tough getting them because there's really no police academy that runs a SLEO 1 police academy. We used to go to Union County, John Stanley Police Academy, but they stopped doing that. In the last 2 or 3 years, we were sending them down to the shore, Ocean County Police Academy or Monmouth Police Academy, and they usually run them from May until the middle of summer. But we're always on the last on the list because in the shore communities, they hire a lot of Class 1 SLEOs. So they'll fill up their police academies with those towns first before they actually take us.
Okay.
So
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anything to report? Thank you for stepping in, Dawn, here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay,
No, not the
excellent. Anything on the legal department? To our business administrator, thank you again for getting rid of that glass in here, the partitions. And
progress.
yes, progress, excellent. All right, then, moving on to the governing body's comments. I think I began last time on that side. I'll start on my left. Mr. Gindi?
I have nothing.
Okay. Mrs. Ballas?
I have nothing at this moment.
Okay,
either.
yes, it's that time of the year. Anything, Mr. Sula?
Nope, nothing at this
Nope,
time.
okay, Mr. Oliveira?
Sorry, I'm going to break the trend, guys.
Okay, that's all right.
Parks and Rec, I just want to thank Terry and Jessica for the tree lighting ceremony. They did a great job. It was a great event. It lasted more than 15 minutes, which was great. And I know next year they have a lot of exciting events planned. So I do want to thank them, DPW, the fire department. It was a great event, and again, it couldn't have been done without the support of everyone else. On today's agenda, we have consent resolution 335, and that's to appoint a full-time a part-time rec director. I do want to thank the mayor and council for looking at this. Terry has done a phenomenal job, and she is very deserving of this role. So again, I do want to thank everyone for considering that. For Board of Ed, they have a meeting tonight, and I will be happy to provide an update at our next meeting. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kuczynski?
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have to say is on the Office of Aging, they had their senior mingle at the Ria Mar, and it was a very successful event. Very nice to see a lot of the people there. With that, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, and Mrs. Mara?
Just two things from the library board. They just finished up their contest for the decoration of the tote bag with our 100 years coming up that the library is open. So soon I'll have an update on who the winner was. And as you know, 2023 will be 100 years that the library has been open. So just look out for a bunch of events that we'll be having throughout the year to celebrate the 100 years. Other than that, I just wanted to mention both Library Board and Shade Tree Commission, Mayor. I don't know if you're choosing your commissions for the council, but I'd be interested in staying with the Library Board and the Shade Tree Commission as well again next year if possible.
Okay.
That's all I have for now, Mayor.
All right,
Oh,
then.
and I would like to ask, I'm sorry, before we get to the consent resolutions, if we could just read separately 323, 324, and 334, if that's okay.
320,
323, 324, and 334.
okay. Okay, very good. All right, I'll just piggyback off of what the councilwoman said. I've often tried to push that there are a number of things that go on in South River, but you have to become part of it if you want to get involved. The senior mingle, which was held at the Ria Mar, which was very successful. They had a very good singer there. I was able to attend that. The tree lighting, a chance for everybody to come together. There was hot chocolate. There was music. It was cold, but it was fun. It was fun just to get together. There are things that are happening in South River, become part of it. Get to know your neighbors. It's important. Moving on with the agenda, very good house here. So we have public comments. You have 10 minutes to speak. Please give your name and address. Who would like to be first?
Good evening, Richard Byrne, 11 Bissett Place, South River. So for number 324, feasibility study for the Obert Street lot, that's to develop some sort of additional solution with respect to planning, I guess? That's what that's for?
I'll let the expert, Mr. Lendunsky, you want to talk about that?
What that is I've gotten inquiries from a number of developers who are interested in doing a partnership with the borough in making a parking deck and commercial businesses on the first floor. This is a company that specializes in traffic and parking lots, and they'll look at the feasibility of us doubling the size of the lot, what the cost would be for us to work on it next year as possibly a borough partnership with a developer.
Okay, so I'd like to say thank you for taking the first steps in coming up with a plan to both improve parking, and I guess the developers would, probably be kicking in money to make this happen. So it's like a win-win. So I've spoken for years about the need to have a plan for the downtown parking. The resolution 323 is this is part of the state required to get their certification, right? A statement of support, a resolution in support of the business, right?
Yes.
So that good, that hopefully contributes to our community both economically and with a couple of jobs and stuff. And then I see Mr. Milram of 37 Main Street is getting his performance bond release, and I've been by there several times, and it looks like he's delivered a quality product on that project. So, yay, South River, we got a good operator.
The grand opening will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Okay,
So
all right, so that's.
we'll have official ribbon cutting there. So thank you. Anyone else? Next.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Charlie Cradaville. I'm the Central Jersey organizer with Food and Water Watch, nonprofit environmental group focused on making sure everyone has access to clean water and healthy, affordable food. And increasingly, our work is a work of protecting food and water is affected by the climate crisis. So I'm here today to talk about a private company's plan to build a 630 megawatt gas-fired power plant in the Caseby section of Woodbridge, just over 5 miles from where we are right now. If approved, this project would make climate change even worse, leading to more extreme weather, floods, droughts, and the like. But more directly, it would harm the quality of the air we all breathe. And so I do have a handout for you, if may I approach? And so on this flyer, you'll see directly from the air permit application that's pending with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, the amounts of pollutants that this private company is seeking permission to emit into our atmosphere, again, just over 5 miles away from here. And it's not pretty. These are poisonous, carcinogenic chemicals that will harm human health and make it harder to breathe. We already have an F rating from the American Lung Association for Middlesex County's ground level ozone. Ground level ozone is the product of nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds, and on those hot summer days when it's hard to breathe, those are the things that are combining to create smog. And we also have particulate matter, which is very concerning. The vast majority of this particulate matter that would come out of this power plant is PM 2.5, which means it's smaller than 2.5 microns, and that means it can travel hundreds of miles, and that when you breathe it in, it gets deep inside your lungs and stays there for the rest of your life. This is not something we need, not something that will be good for your residents, and that's why I'm here today to ask you to adopt a resolution opposing this project. You would be joining a group of folks. You see the towns listed here on the flyer. These are 8 municipal governments that have already come out against it and passed a resolution opposing it: Edison, Highland Park, Hoboken, Perth Amboy, Franklin, Sayreville, Rahway, and since I last spoke to the council, South Brunswick has joined this group. Also, the County of Somerset, their commissioners have adopted a resolution, and the Highland Park Board of Education. I do have a revised resolution that sent to the clerk and the attorney earlier this evening that reflects the South Brunswick resolution that was adopted last Tuesday, and I do have copies for the elected officials.
Okay, thank you.
And I just will note that I had the pleasure of speaking to your Environmental Commission and Shade Tree Commission about this, I guess a couple months ago now, and they I believe have submitted a letter to you, calling for you to take this action and join the other towns in opposing this dirty project that will pollute our air and make climate change even worse. So I would, wanted to ask the mayor and council if you've had a chance to review the materials that you've gotten on this topic, and if you're interested in joining, acting on this resolution, joining these other elected government bodies and taking a stand against this.
I was not here last time, but I'll talk to the governing body about this and see where they stand. But I remember meeting Mayor McCormick. This is before the state, isn't it? This isn't this isn't a Woodbridge project. The state of New Jersey is involved with this.
So it's a private company, Competitive Power Ventures, that has proposed this. They did get land use approval from Woodbridge years ago, but currently the Department of Environmental Protection is evaluating the air pollution permit application, and we do think it would be wise for the borough to weigh in. We've had success in stopping other dirty projects like this when local leaders speak up and use their power to pass resolutions. And particularly North Bergen, 52 towns came out against that proposal, and that proposal did not happen. So we're hopeful that you'll review the materials, and certainly we hope you do your research, because we think you'll come to the same conclusion we did, that this is not good for your residents.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Next person, don't be afraid.
How are you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is Maggie Georges, 38 Redwood Way. I hope you're having a great Monday. It's been an interesting weekend for me, I'll have to say that. Today, surprisingly, I'm not talking about the chickens. I'm here because my parents received the letter that you have in front of you. The letter that you have in front of you reads, Dear Ms. Merzu, it has come to our attention that you have 3 permits from a previous owner that has failed to call for inspections. These inspections are required by New Jersey Construction Code for the current owner to be able to use. 14 by 28 in-ground pool, finished basement, 17 by 28 deck. Please give us a call within 7 days of receiving this letter so we may arrange for inspection. Now, my parents have lived in this property now for over 16 years. These permits were put in about 20 years ago. So it was very surprising to receive this letter. And kind of, I'll say it was just a shock. It was interesting because the letters was written on December 8th, the same week I spoke to the council last meeting, after the zoning chairman called my mom. And the same day I sent up the follow-up email to inform the board that the chairman called and proof of the mishandling the documents by the township secretary. I have not received anything from my last email as well. Now I have to say I am disappointed by how things are moving with my parents' house. I came here in July with one intention, to improve my mother's mental and physical health by keeping the chickens. I now feel guilty for the problems that I have arise from this. This letter has caused many problems and anxiety for my family. I had no bad intentions or impact, and yet there are problems being faced. I do not know what is happening. Truly, I have no idea. Immediately when receiving this letter, I personally was like, whatever, it doesn't matter, we don't care. They can come and see, we're happy for anyone to come and inspect the house, because we really haven't done any changes since the last owners. But after speaking to some professionals, I realized there may be problems that might arise from this. I did speak with the Department of Community Affairs, and they said that there should be no violations due to the previous owner's work. However, we feel there might be there's no good intentions for the following reasons. There are 3 significant issues with this letter. One, it has come to my attention how and why permit documents, I found out by DCA, are kept for 10 years. So even if I had filed this permit, which I did not, it was filed by the previous owner about 20 years ago, I would have not kept the documents. The township also does not keep documents usually for more than 10 years. So this was not a normal process, and it's just a coincidence that it aligns with the timeline of my talks and emails. It's just really remarkable. 2, if the permits were never closed, why are we paying taxes for all these years that we were assessed for? As well, I want to note that there was a township assessment, that a process that came a year or 2 ago, which an assessor came into our property to examine everything for tax purposes. So it has been updated. In addition, so we had an assessor come recently. Okay, and this is now my favorite part of the letter. The letter comes in my mom's name, Magda Merzu. In the past 16 years, not one document has come from the township with my mom's name. They've all come in my dad's name, Sama Hayed. So if you look at the property documents, it's all Sama Hayed. This one came in Magda Merzu. Yes, she is an owner, but all the documents, not one document from South River has come in her name. Even the citation has come in Sama Hayed, not Magda Marzouk. So it was very interesting that this one came in my mom's name. I have to tell you, I have some assumption, including that this has become a personal matter rather than professional. Someone told me this past weekend, do you want to be right or effective? And I will tell you my goal is to be both, but I prefer to be effective than right. The DCA provided me with the provision of Bulletin 0601, which I will also pass out, stating, why the reasons for inspection. And this, I'll tell you, the bulletin pretty much summarizes saying, like, if work was done without by the previous owner, without a permit, then, they can issue for a certificate of continued occupation inspection. But really, when I spoke to the representative from DCA, he told me that there should be no violations because this was work done by the previous owner without a permit. But this was actually work that was filed by a permit. There was a permit work, and I can't even look up the documents. Like, this should be public record. I can't even go and see it because permit paper documents are only supposed to be kept for 10 years. So maybe there was a final assessment, but I can't see that because permit work is only supposed to be kept for 10 years. So I can't even follow up with that. And I will say that I do not feel comfortable letting anyone in my parents' household at this moment because I feel like the intent of this letter was not to be effective, but to be right. And not right in the matter of the law, but right in the matter of pride. Now, I really hope we can move past this, as there are actually people being impacted by this. Did you know that stress is a huge cause for cancer reoccurrence? Okay? The only person that's really being impacted by all of this is my mother. Okay? I really came here with true intentions just to keep the chickens, to make her happy. And yet, there are so many problems have arisen. I just don't understand why. This is not a personal matter. Okay? The only one that's being impacted is my mom. Like, really, this letter, I could not believe this letter that I shared with you. 20 years the permit was filed and under the old landlord. I can't even give any information. Now, I just want to give a council update. I know I'm not going to get a response. I know I'm not going to get anything. Okay? But I've been talking to you for the last few times. I've sent so many emails. I know I'm not going to receive a response, unfortunately. All right? But I will continue to the DCA, the Department of Community Affairs, on a resolution for this, because this is really just a really unique situation. I wish you all a happy and healthy holiday. I am sorry truly to bother you. This is not my intention. I will tell you, I have 3 kids. I'm doing my dissertation right now. I have a full-time job, okay? I have a lot going on in my life. This is the last thing I want to do. Okay, really, it's the last thing I want to do. But I'm here to protect my parents. And it turns out that this whole time I've just been digging a hole for them. And I can't tell you the tremendous amount of guilt I have for that. Truly. And I don't think I've said anything wrong, but it turns out that whatever I'm saying is taken by the wrong intention somehow. But I just don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. And again, I'm really sorry to bother you. I appreciate your time to talk to you. I appreciate everything that you do for this town. I wish you a wonderful and healthy and happy holiday. Thank you.
I will tell you that it is not personal. And the lawyer inside of me is jumping up and down and yelling and screaming. So I'm going to pass it on to our attorney. I want you to look into this because there are some things that just aren't right.
Mayor,
Yeah.
Excuse me, if I may.
Yes, please.
This is routine for a building department.
Mm-hmm.
We go through things and the computer kicks up items that are open permits.
Mm-hmm.
In all due respect, she's incorrect. We keep our files until the building is destroyed. We have files. I have files. She's gotten most of her inspections, but not her final inspections. And the 2 that worry me, and the secretary came to me to write the letter, get my permission, is a pool and a deck. All we do under that bulletin that the state called me today, and I explained everything to them, is do a visual inspection and giving them a continued certificate of occupancy. We want to make sure that there's a fence around the pool. As long as there's a fence around the pool, they're pretty much, their permit's done. The deck, they got their footing inspections. Everything else is visible. The building inspector will go out there, make sure the railings are there and the steps are correct, and it's done. It was nothing. We do this all the time. When we get permits, we have hundreds of permits that people don't call for their final inspections. we're chasing them. We don't have the time to just concentrate on that, but the computer does kick them out every once in a while, and we do see them when people make Oprah requests and other things. So this is no big deal. This just cleans up the application and the permit. And the document that she's talking about from DCA gives us guidance exactly. They don't want you, for instance, if there's a finished basement that didn't get their final inspections or inspections. We're not expected anybody to go in and rip open walls and all that. We make a visual inspection of safety items. Everything is good, we give them a continued certificate of occupancy, and we're done.
I have a question.
I have lots of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. See that this is done by the end of the year.
They have to,
Could we question
Set up an
something,
inspection.
Mr. Mayor, since we're on the topic? Isn't it the responsibility of the borough to give that information to the seller of the home before they sell the home?
Yeah, upon closing.
Permits need to be closed before it's closed, so why are we putting this burden on a new owner?
Well, the question, that's why the lawyer inside of me is jumping up and down. I mean, because there's a lot of questions. 16 years ago, did we have a C of O 16 years ago? I don't remember. We did?
yes, the building department had that. The building department had pretty much, stuff is updated now, but a procedure.
But I guess my question is, if it was 20 years ago and it was the previous owner, you know, how are they now held liable?
They should never have gotten a C of O to move into the
Yeah,
place.
well,
That falls on the borough.
Upon
That's the
closing.
You
issue.
know, for instance now, pools. Pools have changed within the 20 years. They're required grounding, all right? 20 years ago, they're not required grounding. We're not gonna make them be required for grounding. The permit is on the construction code that was in effect at that time. So we have a file, we have that they've gotten their final electric, they've gotten some other things. It's just we need a final inspection. Now, the building inspector's final inspection normally in the pool thing is that there's a fence around the pool. All the other things for the building inspector have been pretty much done during construction. The fence is important. It's required. You know,
So, but before we get ahead of ourselves, we don't know. So all we know right now is that these are open permits. We don't know if there's any issues here. Why don't we get together with the property owners, we'll get the final inspections, and then we'll revisit what's going on, because it could just be a matter, as Art is saying, as seeing if there is a fence around the pool and closing out the permit. I feel like we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves right now.
Okay, but do we not see how coincidental this feels to the current property owner that it happens to show up now? I mean, come on.
But the other issue I have, I'm sorry to cut you off, but my other issue is we're talking about the pool, which would have been upon closing to make sure that they pass their inspections. My finished basement and the deck, how would they know what the footings are? How would they know, you know, I know you're doing visual, but when you're going down to a basement, are you gonna require them to open up the walls?
No,
No, you said visual
You hear him
inspection.
say that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him say
But at the same time, I'm sorry, they would have needed a CO to close on their property
And if they
16
didn't have-
years ago.
if they didn't have, the previous owner didn't have their final inspection, then a certificate wasn't issued, and it didn't go to the tax assessor.
Wasn't.
It's probably on the books now because we did a revaluation, but how long before this did we do a reevaluation, Mayor?
86.
86.
Okay, but
guess
that's
So
still not
they
the
might have
even
not
built.
even being
problem.
taxed, and that's not but they are being taxed now because I'm sure the tax company that did the assessment
Assessment,
saw a
yeah.
pool in the back.
Now, does the family have to incur any fees for final inspections?
No. There's no fees, there's no
So
nothing.
it's just a matter of
Just a
checking?
matter of setting up the inspections and making the inspections and giving them
Not the
a
permits.
continued certificate of occupancy.
Now, if they find their CO from when they purchased the home, wouldn't that be sufficient enough? You guys did this,
When
if
did
you
you-
did the CO
when did
16
you-
years ago?
How?
2016.
2016?
Oh,
Yeah, 16 years
Sorry,
ago.
sir, 16 years.
2016? You know, we've been getting, we always get an open request at a closing. I don't say we get them all the time. And that's where we do a lot of these open permits. The first thing they ask, are there any open permits on the property? And we'll go back, and the computer goes back quite far. And they say yes, and then we'll go in, and the people will set up the inspections, we'll do the visual inspection, and it's cleared up. So we can issue them their certificate of occupancy. I don't know what happened in 16. I wasn't the construction official then.
2006.
Yeah, but
Six. I wasn't the construction official then.
Mr. Londensky, usually when anybody goes to request a CO, the first thing the secretary does is to go check and print out a list of open permits.
I don't know what
Correct?
they did in 2006.
Yeah, that's something to.
I don't even know if we had a CO ordinance in 2006.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we did.
I'd be surprised
That's
if we had
why
a CO ordinance.
I said the attorney to look at it and see. In the meantime, call the office tomorrow, set up the appointment, make sure, Mr. Lundensky, that it will be done before the end of the year. Okay?
So then it's just a backyard, opening the backyard, because we don't have a finished basement.
Someone has to be home. We don't do inspections.
Yeah, we'll open the backyard, but
So
just
you
someone
will-
has to see the
We
fence and the
give you a
deck.
window of 2 to 3 hours. Someone has to be home.
Absolutely. I
The
will be there.
inspector will knock on your door, make the inspection.
Sounds good. Yes, I'm sorry. This is the bulletin that was, I found it at the DCA. It's not, I realized I didn't print enough copies, sorry.
That's okay.
But thank you for your,
And you're not a burden for coming up here.
I really feel bad, but thank you.
Don't feel bad.
Anyone else on first call, second call, third call?
Make a motion to close public?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Seal is closed public, second by Mr. Gindi. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. There are no mayoral appointments. Moving on to consent resolutions, there will be, do you still want the three to be read separately?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas Resolution 2022-01 authorizes the Borough Council to utilize a consent agenda to adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved, that the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by the Borough Council in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. 318, transfer of 2022 budget appropriations. 319, rescinding approval of an ABC license for the 2021-2022 license year. 320, approval of plenary consumption license 1223-33-013-011 for the 2021-2022 license year. 321, authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office. 322, property tax refund for a disabled veteran. 325, resolution authorizing the carryover buyback. 326, authorize certain utility refunds. 327, authorize the release of a performance bond. 328, purchase of a hydraulic digger truck. 329, South River Police Department, change in status of employee. 330, confirm promotion of Edward Dumas to sergeant in the police department. 331, resolution authorizing Patrolman John Kenny to serve as acting sergeant. 332, accepting December 5th, 2022 regular and executive session minutes. 333, authorizing the bills and claims list. 335, appoint part-time recreation director. 336, approve salaries for non-union employees.
Your pleasure on the resolutions.
Motion to move the consent resolutions.
Second.
Resolutions have been moved by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. All in roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gertenski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira?
Yes.
Councilman Olivera?
Yes.
Council President Seola?
Yes, the abstention of 333, 22-02, 832, 02994, 01471, and 02590.
Okay, moving on to the other resolutions that are separate. Resolution 323, support for suitability of cannabis business.
Will you read it, please?
Oh, you want to read the entire
Well,
resolution?
unless somebody makes a motion to waive the full reading.
Motion to waive the full reading.
Motion by Councilwoman Merritt to waive the full reading, seconded by Councilman Olivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Ayes have it. Okay. Your pleasure on the resolution.
Motion to move the resolution.
Motion has been made to move the resolution by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. Discussion.
I just was wondering who had put it on the agenda and if everybody read it. This resolution being
Came
put on
from,
the agenda.
This resolution is required. The applicant, after receiving zoning board approval, meet all the criteria to get a letter of support from the borough so that he can get his state license.
Okay.
The first one.
Just the last step before he actually comes.
That was just my question. Mayor, just so you know, I'm pointing all these out just because since we don't do anything in the agenda session, I'd like to ask before I vote on it why it's being put there.
That is your right. Okay. Is there anyone else? No? Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gertenski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira?
Yes.
Councilman Olivera?
Yes.
Council President Seula?
Yes.
Next is Resolution 324, authorizing THA Consulting to provide a site feasibility study for Obert Street.
The Obert Street parking lot.
Make a motion?
Motion has been made to waive the full reading by Mr. Seula, seconded by Mr. Gindi. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Your pleasure on the resolution?
Move the resolution.
The resolution has been moved by Mr. Gindi,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Seula. Discussion?
Again, I was just questioning how this came about or if it was a local developer
Been
or,
working on this for about 4 months now. Started getting these requests from developers, how to find the right person to do the study. THA submitted documents along with other engineering firms. They appeared to be the best engineering firm for this type of a feasibility study. Got their quote, and by regulation, we have to do a resolution because it's a professional services contract.
was this a bid or it went out to bid? No.
Professional service, not fair and open.
Okay. And is it local developers in town that are interested in assisting this, or is this out of town?
They're developers, both local and out of town. I don't think it would be appropriate for me to start putting names along.
Oh, I'm not asking for names. I was just asking if they were local,
Yes.
if it was in,
Serious developers.
okay. And my next question was, did we discuss this with the planning board as well? Since they're doing their planning reevaluation? Has this been discussed at a
No.
planning board meeting?
I've been at the planning board meetings. They're always talking about parking as being one of the issues of the master plan. Adequate parking downtown, even the study that was done, how many years ago, Councilman Seula?
Oh, God, it was
Talked about parking.
quite a few years ago.
Again, just a feasibility study. If it comes out that the borough is interested in doing this, the borough would go in front of the planning board for any project. They don't have to go for variances or anything like that, but the capital projects go in front of the planning board.
Okay. That was all the questions I had.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gertenski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira?
Yes.
Councilman Olivera?
Yes.
Council President Seula?
Yes.
Next one is Resolution 334, appointing Arthur Lundensky as Borough Administrator.
Make a motion?
Second.
Motion to waive the full reading by Mr. Seola, seconded by Mr. Oliveira. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. Your pleasure on the resolution.
Make a motion to move the resolution?
The resolution has been moved by Mr. Seola, seconded by Mr. Gindi. Discussion?
I just had a question, since it's on the resolution, to vote for this, according to the terms and conditions set forward in the contract. I did not see the contract.
It hasn't been produced yet.
So we're voting on something without seeing the contract? Are we allowed to do that?
And you can appoint him. In theory, yes, you could approve a contract that hasn't been fully crafted yet. It's just the terms and conditions that's.
Yeah. The draft stages have been put together. The only difference will be that the borough will pay the supplemental health costs of Mr. Lundensky, which amounts to, at this point, like $500 a month. So given the fact that we are saving a large amount of money, that seemed very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
The contract will probably be ready for the first regular meeting in January.
Will we all be allowed to see it before we?
By all means.
Okay. Again, I just bring this stuff up because it goes on as resolutions, but yet these are the first time that I ever see any of it, so I'd like to make questions before voting on something.
That's a good point. And since we're discussing the matters, we've went through this year. We've interviewed various people for this position, and it turns out that what we have is the best. The grass is not greener on the other side, and therefore we welcome back Mr. Lundensky. Thank you. For the next coming years. If there's nothing else, roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Gertenski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mira?
No.
Councilman Oliveira?
Yes.
Council President Seola?
Yes.
The resolution has been adopted. There is no new business. Now time for governing body comments. Let's begin with Mr. Gindi. I'll begin with you, Mrs. Mara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to report back on our Pop Warner team who went to Florida in the beginning of the month. Both of our teams competed with a large amount of groups. None of them came in last place, which is a good thing, as it was their first time in a long time going down to Florida, but they didn't place. But they were all happy. They got to spend a few days in 80-degree weather, have some time spent at the pool, and everybody came back safely. So I would like to congratulate all the girls and thank Terry Chandler, who does a phenomenal job with our Pop Warner team and now is transitioning into our rec cheerleading team now in the winter. Other than that, like I stated, Mr. Mayor, I hope that you will be able to continue to leave me on the boards that I've been on this year. I've worked very well with them, and I can honestly say I've enjoyed being up here this year, even though I'm the lone Democrat. It seems like sometimes, at least, you guys listen or think about listening, and I appreciate that very much, because a lot of the times we put things on our agenda and we don't even look at them. And this past year, we've tried to make every street an emergency snow road. We've tried to triple the amount of money that we charge permits for our rec fields. We've done a lot of things that we've really rethought before voting on, and I think that's really why I'm here, and you guys are stuck with me for another year. But I'd like to say I'm glad that my voice does matter just a little bit. I hope everybody has a good Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year. Since we're speaking about the new year, Mr. Mayor, and I never know what's going on, what are we doing for January 1st?
January 1st will be here. It will be a short ceremony as it was last year. The fire department will be swearing in everybody tomorrow at their function on the 20th. We will be here. It'll be short and sweet with a very small agenda as it was last year, just the main professionals being appointed. We should be done in 15 minutes. I've told Mr. Ciula, don't talk too much, but one never knows with him. So we will see. But that'll be January 1st here at 12 noon.
And then the other resolutions, commissions, boards, appointments will be at our January...
First meeting, yes, that'll be the 7th, 8th, 9th, January 9th.
The 9th meeting. Okay. Well, I will see you all here January 1st. I hope everybody stays warm. Thank you.
And we thank you for keeping us honest. You ask us questions, and, you know, there are various ideas that are floated. They, you know, they sound good. And then when they see the light of day, it's like, well, maybe not. So, you know, that's what we do. We discuss things and we try to hash them out, do what's best for South River. As you said, we'll be stuck with you for another year. I guess that means that you won't be with us coming up in the future.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. Can't get rid of me that soon.
Well, we will see. We look forward to 2023. Thank you, Councilwoman.
I just hope that we do continue to use our agenda sessions for actually knowing what's going on. I mean, I like to vote and know what I'm voting about, not just put on a resolution, because sometimes you miss things, and a lot of the time I'm the last person to know. So hopefully we do agenda sessions more. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Gerczynski.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I'd like to thank all of our public safety workers, our police department, fire department, especially the DPW, Robert Wood, who isn't here this evening, and everything, for the job that they do. And all I'm asking for is that the residents, please be mindful of some of our folks that are working out on the street. It is getting particularly congested. There's parking sometimes on both sides of the roads. Guys are out there doing their job and everything like that too. Just be mindful of them, be a little bit more patient. If necessary, leave a little bit more earlier or whatever. And just be safe, stay warm, and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever, okay? Thank you with that very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gerczynski. Mr. Oliveira.
Just want to wish all our residents a happy holidays and a happy new year. I know Councilwoman Mara has brought this up a ton of times, Olszewski with the ice, but there's ice everywhere. Please be mindful of that. Remember, we're still a walking town. There's still a lot of children that are walking. It may take a little bit to slow down, so please be mindful of that. And that's all I have, Mayor. And again, just happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Oliveira. Mr. Ciula, or, okay, Mr. Gindy.
Thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate Sergeant Ed Dumas for his promotion. Parks and Rec, phenomenal job on the tree lighting, as you heard earlier today. Santa Sunday, the fire department, phenomenal job. This was our first time out since the pandemic, 200 or so presents. You know, what gets me is that this council, in the past year, a lot of things have changed. We have brought in the largest tax revenue, which was the cannabis cultivating projects. So many developers are now buying some of these abandoned buildings. Now you're seeing it, because now I'm seeing it on the planning board, coming before us. And now you're going to see our town grow. The businesses. Now you're seeing businesses finally taking up some of our closed up buildings and finally opening it up. Roads and grounds. I mean, I can't tell you how many roads have been done this year, and for that matter, more to come next year. Sidewalks. We seem to work together really well, along with the rest of the committees, the planning board, zoning boards, Parks and Rec. so many parks were done. All I'm saying is that we are the change today, we are the future tomorrow. Let's continue what we were doing today. That's all I have. Happy holidays to everybody.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Gindi. Mrs. Ballas.
First, even though I was not unable to attend the basketball game the other night, I did get to watch some video, so I'd like to congratulate Laz Rodriguez on his 1,000th career high school point milestone. The videos that we were seeing, it was good to see the gym packed again. As in, it's just nice to see the students involved. This weekend it's going to get very cold. Before that, we're going to get a lot of rain. So be mindful of the ice. Any seniors in your neighborhood, if they need help, go and, if you can, de-ice their sidewalks. We want to avoid any ice slip problems. And Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy and Healthy New Year. I look forward to working with all of you again in 2023 and hope to see you on January 1st. Have a great year. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Ballas. Mr. Ursiola.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to tag on to what Chief Smith said about our firefighter, Ryan Farrell. Ryan joined the South River Fire Department when he was 15 years old as a cadet. He went from a cadet to a junior firefighter to a regular firefighter. He went to the Middlesex County Fire Academy, graduated from there. He was attending college for fire science when he was hired by Montgomery County Fire Department in Maryland. This past few months, Ryan was very, how do you say, on top of things, and he saved a woman's life. And he got the recognition, and they were very happy with that down there in Maryland. So again, people, we need volunteers in town. We have turned out of our cadets over the last, I can't say how many years, 4 career firefighters that came out of South River. And we need the help of the young people, because we're all getting older, as we know, and we need young people to come out and volunteer. So anybody wishing to join the fire department, Station 1, which is on the new station on Jackson Street, or you can see Chief Smith for an application. We are looking for young members to come on and join. With that, I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, safe and healthy for everybody. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ursiola. Let's see, I talked about the tree lighting, senior mingle. January 1st has already been discussed. I discussed all of those things. Congratulations to Laz Rodriguez. He scored 1,000 points in the Rams High School basketball. That's a really great thing. It was good to see him on TV 35 practicing before the cameras. Excellent. Going to be good training for, I know you're going to go on to bigger and better things. So excellent with that. Again, congratulations to Don and Tony. We're going to see you next year. You'll be with us for another 3 years. Excellent. Looking forward to that. One last thing, my little pet peeve. Of course, the great day is coming upon us on Wednesday. It will be the shortest day of the year. And after that, it's all downhill. It's going to be getting lighter. Great. But until then, please don't wear dark clothing at night. It is so hard to see people. I passed somebody. I didn't even realize they were next to me. They just right by the car. It was like suddenly they were poof there and, watch, stop, think. Little reflective clothing goes a long way in helping people see. Nothing else, really. I thank everybody. It's been quite a year, 2022. Looking forward to 2023. So to a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. And of course, everybody enjoy the next 2 weeks with a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. Let's get out there and enjoy ourselves during this thing, and let's not become too stressed out there. So if there's anything else to come before us and hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mr. Seula to adjourn this last meeting of the year. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned.